Good afternoon. It's a difficult session to follow an enthusiastic entrepreneur. Is it working? Yeah. And professors who, nobody can be better than the IM professors to teach you innovation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a little from each of the hats I wear. Like it was mentioned in my introduction, I write a travel blog. I also write India's biggest book reviews blog. And I, of course, study innovations and write about them. In my previous avatar, I actually led an innovation initiative at Infosys ages ago. So drawing from all these places, I'm going to talk about what we can do to make sure that we remain innovative through our lives. Everything else is going to change. But if we create a gene in ourselves to remain innovative, that will ensure that wherever we are and whatever we are doing, we remain innovative and we contribute to the innovation in whichever setup we are in. Whether it's a family setup, whether it's a professional setup, whether it's a society setup, it will ensure that we are innovative. Do I make sense? Okay, I don't like one-way communication, so please speak. If you don't have a question to ask, which means that I'm not doing a good job, but share your views in case you don't have any questions, okay? So I'm going to talk about I for innovation. What can I do in innovation, okay? And I'm going to draw a lot of lessons from ancient Indian wisdom, something that our poets left for us, okay? How does it move? Which one? This one? No. Can somebody move it for me? Okay. While you do that, how many of you have heard of a poet called Kabir? Okay, we've all heard what is he famous for? Dohas, okay? In fact, they are not called dohas, they are called sakhis, which comes from the word sakshi. Okay, and sakshi means something that you can see, that you do not have to, it's not philosophical, it doesn't exist in that plane. Okay, so this is, oh, please go back, don't steal my thunder. Okay, so this is one doha, where he says, Kabir man nirmal bhaya, jaise ganga neer, pache pache har firat, kahet Kabir Kabir. Now, the key word here is nirmal. What does nirmal mean? It means ni plus mal, which means without filth, without dirt. Okay? So, and what does Ganga do? I mean, what was it supposed to do? It has a self-cleansing property. Okay? Why is Ganga such an important river? Because it has the ability to self-clean itself. And because it self-cleans itself, everybody runs to it to clean themselves. Right? So what Kabir is saying, if you can clean yourself like Ganga cleans itself, the whole world will come to you running. You don't have to run after anything else. Now I'm going to extrapolate this to innovation. Can I apply this to myself and say, I'm going to clean myself, I'm going to keep working on myself, improving myself, and let the whole world come to me and become a magnet that attracts everything rather than me running after everything else, whether it's me or whether it's my business. Okay? Let me take one example of a person from your city and tell me if you think he's innovative. We all know him? Do you think he is an example of innovation? Yes? How old is he? Sorry? He's 73. Okay, he's exactly my father's age, so I know. He's 73, so he probably belongs to your grandparents' generation. And how many of you have the kind of energy he has at this age? Raise your hand if you think you have his kind of energy. One person. Wow. Okay, and what is he doing? What is he doing that keeps him at 73 at the top of his game? What is he doing? He is improving himself every day, is he? Talk to me. Don't talk among me. Is he improving? How is he improving himself? This shot is from his blog, which I took yesterday. Okay? I write 3 blogs, and I know a whole lot of bloggers in India. Believe me, nobody has the kind of energy he has to maintain a blog every day, to tweet every day, to learn these technologies, and to take advantage of them. Not many of us have that kind of a capability. At least not at this age. Try teaching your parents or your grandparents to start using social media to promote their professional careers. And here is this guy who doesn't need to do this. But what has it done to him? What has it done to him? He's still he's giving competition to people who are a couple of generations younger to him. Right? And is he doing something for anybody else? All he is doing is improving his craft. He is improving his work. He is experimenting with his own career. He is not doing anything. So he is a brilliant example of what Kabir said 500 years ago, that you keep improving your craft and the world will come to you. Agree or not agree? Give me one more example if you agree. Give me one more example. Ratan Tata. Okay, great. Anything else? What did Sachin Tendulkar do? What did he do throughout his career? Did he do anything for anybody else? He kept improving his game, he kept improving his scores, right? So the same applies to all of us in all our careers, you know. So let me take an example of a company. Vridang, your favorite company. Okay. What does this company do? How many of you use Apple products? About 20-25% of you. Okay. These people who raise their hands, tell me, can you go back to any other device? A unanimous no. Right? I don't use an iPhone, but I use a MacBook, and believe me, I can't go back to any other computer now. And my MacBook is probably 6 years old. Okay? Which means in 6 years, nobody has been able to create something that can take me away from this MacBook and take me to them. And the same applies to all the phones, you know. There have been, you know, innovations and innovations, you know, all kinds of things that have happened in the mobile space, but nobody can touch Apple, you know. Technically, what a 80,000 rupees iPhone does, you can get in a 4,000, 5,000 rupees Micromax phone. Am I right? Technically. Functionally, whatever an iPhone does, a 4,000 rupee phone can also do. But what keeps Apple on top of the game is they keep working on improving their products. They keep working on improving even when they are at the top. And I speak to a lot of people who have remained at the top of their game for a long, long period of time in any damn field. If you ask them what is the secret of your staying up there, they are going to tell you that I work 100 times harder after I've reached the top. You know, everybody works hard to reach the top. Everybody works very hard to reach number 1, number 2 slots in their chosen professions. But there are hardly any people who work harder once they've reached there, to remain there or to take the standards up from there. Right? So these are 2 examples of how we need to improve ourselves, whether we are an organization or whether we as an individual. Agreed or not? Okay? And I just want to finish this section. I'm just going to take 3 main tenets, and one of this is this. Wherever you work, whether you work in an organization for 3 years and then decide to do something on your own, or you work for 5 years, or you spend your lifetime in a company, make sure that you are using these principles anywhere, because wherever you spend your time, that becomes a part of your life for the rest of your life. So if you've spent 3 years or 4 years in this institute learning, this is a part of your resume forever. So make sure that you do something innovative here, you leave a mark here, so that tomorrow you know, you can associate your name very proudly with this institute. And the same applies to the organizations that you go and work for tomorrow. Now, why this is important from a business perspective, I'll quote two quotes, one from Bill Gates, where he says that in the next 10 to 15 years, most of the lower end jobs and the mid-range jobs would be automated. We already see a lot of lower end jobs being automated. I don't know how many of you will remember, but 20 years back we used to have a dhobi or a washerman coming to our houses, taking our laundry, bringing it back. Today we don't see that as a profession at all. We all have washing machines. And the same goes for a lot of other work that can be automated. The next level would be when robotics, when artificial intelligence gets mainstream, a lot of mid-range work that we do will go out of the window, it will be automated. And the jobs that will remain will be the jobs which, these are the words of Eric Schmidt, who's the chairman of Google. He says the only jobs which will not lose in next 20 to 25 years are the jobs that involve creativity, the jobs which involve taking care of. Okay, so the jobs of all the nurses and doctors and those kind of jobs are pretty safe because you really can't automate those jobs. The jobs of creativity will take center stage. And to keep yourself creative, it's important that you learn every day, you improve yourself every day, you learn from wherever it is possible. Okay, the next one is, what are the tools for innovation? Now this is a doha by Rahim. It says, lohe ki na lohar ki, Rahiman kahe vichar, jo hani mare sees pe tahi ki talwar. It basically says, nobody says, how many of you know of the sword of Tipu Sultan? Do you know who made it? Do you know? Sanjay Khan made it. The sword, do you know the material it was made of? Do we know? Hello? You know? Okay, so that's what Rahim said 500 years ago. He said, we don't know what the material of the sword is, we don't know who made it, but we remember the guy who used it effectively. Okay, we only remember the guy who applied it to his advantage. So, tools in the coming generation or the coming next 5 to 10 years are going to be, it's not going to be important what tools you have. What is going to be important is the way you apply those tools. Okay? Technology is going to become absolutely democratic. You know, 20 years back, couple of differentiators which existed in the society were access to knowledge, which the internet has completely democratized. Everybody has the same access to knowledge. So access to knowledge has gone out of the window. Technology still remains to an extent an advantage, but another 5 years, 10 years, technology is going to be completely democratic. So everybody in the society would have same access to technology, which means you have the same knowledge, you have the same power, you will have the same tools. So what is going to be different is how you apply those tools. Right? Let me give you an example from, how many of you know this company called Runday? Have you heard of this company? Yeah, you are. Okay, Runday is a company, it's a social enterprise which enables you to lend money to people in the villages as a loan to fund their micro enterprises. Now what this company does is, okay, tell me how many of you have a Facebook account? Okay, how many of you have a Twitter account? Okay, and I assume everybody has other accounts as well. How many of you have made money using them? How many of you have made money using them? Great, what have you done? Okay, only to promote the event. Okay. Great, great. So what this company does is, they run campaigns on Twitter to generate funds for their company. And I have not seen better example of the way they use. In the last World Cup 4 years back, they ran a campaign where they asked all the cricket fans to make commitments to Runday based on the outcomes of the match. So they said, if Sachin makes a century, somebody would say, if Sachin makes a century, I'm going to put 1,000 rupees in Runday account. And this way they generated something like 1 crore of rupees or something, just by running a campaign during the World Cup and leveraging the euphoria that India has during the World Cup. They are, right now also they are running a campaign, it's called Cup of Joy. So if you use a hashtag Cup of Joy on Twitter, you can go and look at their campaign and see how effectively, and it's a zero cost marketing that they do. You would see a lot of paid campaigns on Twitter and Facebook where people pay and they just get visibility out of it, no conversion of business. These guys are running zero cost campaigns and generating huge amounts of funds for their business. So it's the same tool that is available to all of us, but some of us are able to use it to our advantage. So learn to use tools, learn to think how you can creatively use the tools which are available to everybody, because tools are not going to be differentiator in the coming time. Agreed? Okay. And the third tenet is that you can never step into the same river twice. It's a Zen saying which says no two situations in the world are going to be the same. You can take inspiration for some things, but you cannot replicate the same thing. You can take lessons from the businesses which are existing, but you cannot replicate them as such. You must use them as your situation demands, as your business requires, as your wherever you are applying requires. Okay. Where does innovation happen? Innovation happens at intersections. We tell you a story of a family. There was a family called Medici family. It lived in Florence sometime in 1600s, about 400 years ago. And what they did was they had a cafe or an open space kind of thing where all the artists, poets, scientists, everybody used to come and meet. And that's when the Renaissance happened in Europe. And a lot of people say the Medici family had been the key catalyst in that, because they enabled people from different walks of life to come and interact. Okay? Now this is going to be a key tool for you to create intersections for yourself, to make yourself go to those intersections and learn and create new ideas. Okay? Actually, Mridang gave a very good example of an intersection when he said, you know, he needed somebody to take measurements. Now you cannot have a measurement guy running all around the country. So where do you go? You know, had he not explored gyms in whatever way you explored, he would not know that gyms is something that he can leverage. That's a beautiful example of how you use creativity at the intersections of different things. Okay. Flipkart, when I was doing the research for Flipkart and I was talking to a lot of people at there, I figured out their delivery, you know, which is kind of a benchmark. You know, their commitment to delivery, if they say you will get your product in 4 days, you probably will get it in 2 to 3 days. Right? All of us can vouch for it literally. And if you have placed orders across the world with various e-tailers, you can say that they're probably the best in the world. Okay? And how did they get it? You know, where did they get this idea of making a commitment that they must live by? They got these ideas from Domino's. Very simple. They looked at Domino's and they said, this is a perishable product they're selling. If they can sell this perishable product in 30 minutes, they can deliver this in 30 minutes at any corner of the city, why can't we do this in, say, a 3 days time or a 4 days time? Can I create a process which can give the same level of commitment that a Domino's gives? And that's where they got their inspiration for on-time delivery. And believe me, I call them the first chapter of Indian e-commerce, because there is a lot that they have done for Indian e-commerce. But for them, Indian e-commerce would not be at a level at which it is now. You know, they were first to launch cash on delivery. They were first to do a lot of things. But still, the biggest cornerstone of their success still remains this on-time delivery. You know, But for this on-time delivery, Flipkart may not be Flipkart, and their inspiration was not internal. The inspiration came from Domino's. Similarly, they wanted to create an end-to-end customer experience, and their inspiration came from Indigo Airlines. Okay? They wanted to create effective communication, and they got their inspiration from Airtel. All of these are contemporary companies. If you really look at it, they're all contemporary companies, but in different spaces. Okay? Now, Airtel had, at some point in time, a campaign running, Har ek dost zaruri hota hai, right? And from there, they picked up that this is the segment we want to connect with, but the segment which we want to connect with may not have the paying power, so they picked up that a child using an adult's voice kind of campaign, but the inspiration came from Airtel. Okay? So you have to take the inspiration, but adapt it to your need.